Come on, everybody. Give them a round of applause. Just, it's fantastic. I mean, they did it. They finally did it and got everything wrong. Ooh, this is, what is the best way to put this? This is, for lack of a better word, very exhaustingly bad. Wow, this movie messed me up so bad I'm having problems getting the synopsis down. Let's try it again. Artemis Fowl. The book is about a 10-year-old criminal mastermind named Artemis Fowl. Title drop, just right off the bat. And what his plan is his family's not as rich as they once were. Now, don't get it twisted. He lives in a castle in Ireland, in a remote part of Ireland. So his family got some money, but they don't have as much money as they had. So Artemis, one, finds out about fairies. I mean, as you do. And two, kidnaps one to ransom her for a literal ton of gold. And that's the whole book. The book is about the fairies trying to get their own back without having to pay Artemis's ransom. And some shenanigans happen. I mean, there's a really cool troll fight somewhere in the book. It's a good story following the bad guy. Like from the beginning to like the end of the book, Artemis Fowl, the protagonist of your book, is a bad guy. He's a criminal. Artemis Fowl, the movie, is not that. It is about a daddy's boy whose dad goes missing, and he's a good little boy, so he goes to try and get his dad back by using the clues that his dad left behind. And I could make this whole video about just going through and picking every single thing they did wrong, but I don't like making videos that are super long, so I'm not going to do that. However, I am going to point out some stuff like, now, as a movie, it's bad. It is the most rote, uninspired young adult's fantasy book that you could ever young adult fantasy book. Kid's parent goes missing. Kid gets clues from missing parent. Finds a secret society. Oh wow, look, this is a whole world I've never seen before. I gotta get my parent back. The real power was the friends we made along the way. Magical acorn. The end. The book itself was mostly described as Die Hard with fairies. This movie ain't Die Hard. This is a worse adaptation than the Aragon movie, honestly. Like, that one hurt me too. But that's in the past. This is the new trash. Every character's wrong. So Book Artemis is a 10-year-old criminal genius, kind of a shut-in, kind of a jackhole. I mean, his heart's in the right place. He just goes about it the wrong ways. Movie Artemis Fowl is a sports-loving 12-year-old who just wants his daddy's love and acceptance. That's it. Artemis's dad is in the movie, even though, again, if we're going by book, he shouldn't even be here till like the end of what would be a second movie if this would ever get one. But this movie getting a sequel is about as you're going to get an Aragon sequel before you get this one, or a He-Man sequel. Actually, you'd see Skeletor before you see Artemis Fowl again. Butler trashed him. Juliet, they aged her down and then gave her nothing to do except like one scene and some shades. It's real bad. But my two main gripes outside of Artemis is Holly and Root. Now, Holly's an interesting character. She's trying to be the first like recon force, like female recon force down for the fairies. And she's running herself ragged doing so, which is how she gets captured. She goes up to the surface trying to replenish her magic, and oops, Butler shot her and captured her. But that was her whole thing. Her whole thing was, I'm a kick ass and I'm just gonna do my job. In the movie, she's just a cop whose dad is missing. Another thing they made up for the movie for no reason. And Root in the books is the 80s loudmouth police chiefs. That was Root, except add a special dash of like sexism on top of it. Mostly because, you know, Holly was a female trying to be the first one in, and he was being super hard on her because, you know, if she failed, it was going to look bad for it's detailed better in the book, but he was a hard ass, but it was for a good reason. Instead, you have Dame Judi Dench sleepwalking through this movie. I don't get it. Like, I don't get it. The only thing that was accurate from the book was the scene with the psychologist, which might have been the second book if I mean, the books are just jumbled up in my head. And this scene.
It's feeding time.
Yeah, they kept that, but changed everything else. It's flabbergasting, honestly. Like, I meant to record this immediately after I watched the movie, but it just drained me. Like, I went to sleep afterwards. I was just done. So I'm a little late on this. But, I mean, better late than never. If I was to grade this movie, it would get a big fat goose egg. Just the zeroest of zeros. And apparently this is because the Disney execs thought that people couldn't take a 10-year-old criminal super genius seriously. Except that the books themselves sold millions of copies, so obviously we could. Also, this movie has been in development since 2001. Since I was in high school, and I'm an old man. So who is this for? Like, if you're a fan of the books, this isn't for you. It's just going to piss you off. And if you're not a fan of the books, it's a bad movie. Like, I don't get it. It tires me out, and I'm sick of talking about it. I should have known since the first casting announcement, honestly, that this was going to be garbage. I just didn't realize the extent of the garbage that it will go to. I mean, when your most accurate scene is, again,
It's feeding time.
everybody that has something to do with this should feel bad. It's trash. It's a trash movie. It's lifeless. It's uninspired. It's bad. Like, it's a shitty movie. It's just shit. Go read the books. Go read the graphic novel. People deserve better. Kids deserve better than this. Fans deserve better than this. We deserve better.
Thank you for checking out my show. It honestly means so much to me. There's so many places on the internet that you could rather be, but here you are. I hope that you've enjoyed what you've seen. And toss your boy a like, subscribe, and make that bell ring. You can follow me on these social sites, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Same name, my brand and code is ICE. Also, I make music, you can check the link down below. Okay, my time is up. It's time for me to go.
Oh man, I forgot. Leave a comment below.